In the gospel today, Jesus draws a distinction between the peace he offers us and the peace that the world offers. And it's good to take a moment to think about what that means. If we look at the way that the world usually thinks of peace, it can best be described as an absence of conflict, as quiet. That peace can be won in many ways, including by force. In fact, the people who were so angry at St. Paul that they actually tried to kill him by stoning him to death probably did it because they wanted peace from his preaching, from the division that it was causing between those who accepted the Lord and those who rejected him. And so they figured the easiest way to get peace was to just get rid of the man who was causing the division by his preaching. Such peace is not the way that Jesus wants us to look at peace. Because, first of all, it's fragile, based on power. It's always someone trying to impose their will on another. So there's always an element of fear involved. What if someone does something that takes away my peace or tries to impose their own vision of peace upon me? And that will bring conflict, that will bring disagreement, that will end the peace between us. Jesus doesn't want us to be in that fear. So he offers us a very different vision of peace. A peace that comes from a relationship with God. That peace is much more stable because it is based on something very solid, on the perfect love of God. Something that, unlike the quiet of lack of conflict, is not going to go away because of the circumstances we find ourselves in. That stability lets us rest in that peace in a way that's often impossible with the worldly peace. Because as long as we're not on a deserted island, there will always be someone we can disagree with. Anyone who has siblings knows how true that is. And that conflict will always make the peace fragile. A peace based on the love of God, however, doesn't have that fragility. There's a knowledge that God will continue to love us tomorrow just as he loves us today and for all eternity. And that allows us to take risks because we know that peace will continue in our hearts. That peace will continue in our lives because we are loved. That's the peace that allowed St. Paul to remain at peace and continue his mission, despite the fact that he had just had an almost successful attempt on his life. He knew that no matter what the circumstances, no matter what the people of the different cities would try to do to him, he was going to be able to stay true to the Lord because God was going to keep giving him the grace to do it. And that's the peace that Jesus wants for us. The peace that comes from putting our trust in the Lord and accepting his presence, his love, more fully into our lives today than we have yesterday or the day before. That's what will give us that true peace that all of us are searching for. And if we search for it in God and not in the world, it will bring us that fulfillment, that trust, that ability to do the things we're called to do. But we need to keep turning to God, keep surrendering to God, keep allowing ourselves to realize anew that we are loved, that we are so important to Him. Because with that knowledge will come peace. And with that peace will come the ability to let God's love shine through us to others. And the more we let that happen, the more we'll be able to spread that peace to others, and so bring genuine peace to the world, a peace that the world cannot come to by itself.